Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah, as I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So tonight is Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. This is episode 525 of the Daily Dope. This is the first time you've joined me. So let me point out, this is very, very casual. Just hang out, talking a bit about the latest tabletop gaming news of the day. So that means I'm talking about board games, card games, role-playing games, miniatures games, and so on and so forth. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little bit about PC games and pop culture from time to time, but the vast majority of the show is devoted to tabletop gaming. Do you want to also mention that if you like this video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't yet, and if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my reviews and unboxings and first looks and page throughs and interviews and so on and so forth. There are over 900 videos on the Gaming Gang channel. Pretty amazing. I think we're at about 920, somewhere in that vicinity. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, do want to also mention, because this is a live stream, that also means chat is available here on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, by all means, please chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far tonight, we've got Kabuki Kid, Double K is in the house. The Madman has arrived. Kabuki Kid, I should say, John Vogel is also here. And Kabuki Kid is mentioning the audio sounds kind of quiet. It shouldn't be. The mic is close. I am showing the usual levels for the microphone. So one thing I had noticed previously that a lot of times I would get not necessarily clipping in the audio, but it would get pretty close to being clipping. So what say everybody else in chat? How does the audio sound to them? Let me know if it sounds okay. But yeah, I'm showing my levels are at the usual spot. So anyway, I see we've got a Great A has popped into chat as well. So Kabuki Kid says it's not too low, just lower than everything else seems to be. Madman says it sounds okay. So we'll go with it as we've got it now. All right. So got some news tonight. Got some interesting news pieces. We're going to jump on in because arriving next week from Scorpion Mask and Iello Games is Mia London and the Case of the 625 Scoundrels. Here's the dope. In Mia London and the Case of the 625 Scoundrels, not 624, not 626, but 625 scoundrels, you must help Detective Mia London unmask which of those 625 notorious scoundrels has committed a mischievous crime. Watch the clues as they are revealed to you because each accessory appears on 2 cards, except for the one belonging to the scoundrel. Note the missing accessory in your booklet and reconstruct the villain's portrait. The game does feature. Whoops, hang on, what was that? Somebody had a hiccup there. Ultra simple and intuitive gameplay. Less than 10 seconds to get a game started. All right, well, I'm going to bust out stopwatch on that. Find out what's going on. There's a booklet that can turn into a toy that children love playing with. It's from well-known game designers, and it includes wonderful illustrations and very distinctive visuals. Mia London and the Case of the 625 Scoundrels is for 2 to 4 players, ages 5 and up, plays in around 10 to 15 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $22.99 when it arrives on August 19th. Says Kabuki Kid says, what a title. Yeah, I know. Mia London and the Case of the 625 Scoundrels. I am not familiar if Mia London is like a character out of something. I don't think so. I think it's just a character created for this game. I might be wrong, but I don't know. A Great Ace says, I'm old enough to play that game. I would think all of us are old enough to play that game. Doesn't mean that all of us are old enough to win that game. Moving right along, another family-friendly game arriving this month is from Weird Giraffe Games, and it is Big Easy Busking. I've got the dope. Big Easy Busking is an area control game for 1 to 5 players about being the best street musician in New Orleans. The game is played over 3 days, where players choose which locations to play their set of songs. It takes time to play a song, so players decide on their next turn whether they're going to use all of their energy at the location or to only use some of it to save the rest for later songs. If a player matches the mood of the people with the song that they're playing, they can get bonus tips. The game features escalating rounds. The game starts with 3 locations players can play at, but by the final round, there's 5 locations, so players have to choose where to play wisely. It includes engaging gameplay. Players determine how much energy to allocate to each location after seeing how other players play, so players pay attention to what happens between their turns. I guess we'll say successful players would do that. Also has thematic actions. Songs require differing amounts of energy from musicians, and players are rewarded greatly for playing the songs that the crowd wants to hear. Decide whether you want to try and get a few tips from the crowd at every location, or if you really want to win over a particular crowd in this musical game of area control. Big Easy Busking is for 1 to 5 players, ages 8 and up. Plays around 45 to 60 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it arrives later this month. Gotta say, really do like the art style to the game. I think that's kind of a fun theme to it as well, being buskers in New Orleans, trying to make tips. I would take a guess maybe the overall winner is the person who has the most tips at the end of the game. I'm taking a guess here. I am actually going to reach out to Weird Giraffe Games to see about maybe reviewing this, because this looks like this could be pretty interesting and pretty different too. And I do know they follow me on Twitter, so pretty sure that they know who I am. It's not like I'm just going to come out of the woodwork being like, hey, how about send us some review copies? Actually, I'd only be asking for 1. So this is arriving later this month. I think it arrives next week. To be honest, I am not positive, but I'm pretty sure. So Mia London is a pile of schlock romance novels, according to a Gray Day. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the same thing. I really don't. I don't think you'd be taking a character or author from some romance novels and making them like the main character of a game for 5-year-olds and up. Don't know. Anyway, let's move on to our next news piece for the wargamers out there. There's a new Kickstarter that launched earlier today from Verssen Games. Here's the dope on Zero Leader. Zero Leader is based on the Corsair Leader game with some significant changes. The game focuses on commanding and managing a Japanese aerial squadron in the Pacific during World War II, with aircraft including the A6M20, the KI-84 Frank, the KI-43 Oscar, G4M Betty, and G3M Neil. Oh, I should say it was the Nell. I was going to say Neil. Where the hell is that from? Never heard of Neil before. Okay. And the game does cover the major campaigns throughout the war from 1941 through 1945. You'll need to select the right mix of aircraft under your command in order to successfully carry out the different types of missions. Each aircraft has its advantages and disadvantages. For example, a fighter like the Zero is very maneuverable and deadly to enemy bandits, but it has limited ability to attack naval and ground targets. Plus, it just would fall apart if shot up. It just had no sustainability in the air once it took some damage. Anyway, whereas a bomber like the Betty can carry a lot of munitions, but are susceptible to enemy bandits and anti-aircraft attacks. This game also includes additional aspects of Japanese operations, such as mechanical and maintenance challenges, invoking samurai spirit, as well as the ability to deploy the deadly Oka kamikaze aircraft bombs. Weren't those piloted bombs? I seem to remember they were like piloted bombs, but I think they didn't work very well. So if I remember right. There's also an air combat system which gives you more tactical options when dogfighting with enemy aircraft, including maneuvering for position, increasing pilot aggression, and being affected by the robustness of the aircraft. Like the other games in the Leader series, Zero Leader is a solitaire game. There is a 2.5-minute long video from Verssen Games about this Kickstarter. So let's jump on in and take a peek.
Zero Leader is a solitaire board game that allows you to pilot Japanese aircraft fighting the Allies in World War II. You begin by choosing your campaign. We have included campaigns from 1941 to 1945. Campaigns list the different aircraft you may fly and the enemy you may face, along with a number of maintenance crews that you have to start. Zero Leader leans on the established Corsair Leader system, but adds plenty of unique mechanics to set it apart from all the other Leader games. In Zero Leader, you need to maintain your aircraft. Previously, a damaged plane automatically got repaired for the next day. In Zero Leader, a damaged aircraft requires a lot of your limited resources to repair. The aircraft in Zero Leader each have unique attributes that have never been in a Leader game before. Each aircraft has a maneuver rating along with a robustness value. These values make all the aircraft reflect their historical pluses and minuses. Zeros, for instance, are very maneuverable, but not very robust. Can you make the most of the maneuverability positive while avoiding the robustness negative? Pilots have an additional stat that they draw on as needed. Aggression quantifies the difference between a full-throttle, max-performance pilot and a more cautious, methodical one. Which type of pilot are you? Zero Leader simulates the changing fortunes of war for the Japanese in a few very cool ways. The standard squadron makeup is strong in 41 and 42, but a bit weaker in 44 and 45. The late war campaigns also reflect worsening conditions with fewer maintenance crews, which can truly complicate air ops. The aircraft in Zero Leader feature fighters and bombers from both the Army and the Navy, such as the A6M20, KI-43 Oscar, the D3A Val, and the G4M Betty. Zero Leader will also include features such as kamikaze attacks and the Oka flying bomb. Zero Leader is a Chuck Siegert design. Chuck has been a wargamer since the early 70s, and this is his first commercial game design. You are needed to help Zero Leader become a great addition to the Zero Leader game legacy.
You can score a copy of Zero Leader plus all unlocked stretch goals for a $75 pledge through September 2nd. Expected delivery is February of next year. Yeah, so first off, the audio in that video was awful, terrible. And yes, I saw Kabuki Kid and a Gray Day were both making fun of it. I know, it almost sounded like somebody had taken a can, tied a piece of string to it, speaking into the can, and the string was connected to their phone. Dan, come on, man. I tell you. All right, so there's some discussion about the Leader series here. So let's pop out for a sec here. So I have to point out, I have yet to ever play a Dan Verssen game. Now, I have not played every Dan Verssen game, but I have yet to play a Dan Verssen game that I did not like, that I did not enjoy. Kabuki Kid says, maybe he was simulating the pilot radios. No, I don't think it was period audio. No, don't think so. Anyway, so I have played, off the top of my head, I have played Napoleon. I have played Thunderbolt Apache Leader. I have played Phantom Leader Deluxe. I have played the War of the Worlds USA Edition. I have never been, Kabuki Kid is saying the same exact thing I was just about to say. I have never been let down by a Dan Verssen game, ever. So Grady had commented that, well, you know, Dan's really getting a lot of mileage out of that Leader series. Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff out there that you could apply that to. That all said, and I know I saw the Madman in chat said, yeah, I'm really thinking of backing this. And I am not trying to dissuade anybody from backing this at all. I personally, I don't know if I'd want to play a game where I have to be the Japanese. I don't, yeah, just, it would not be my bag. Wow, that sneeze came out of nowhere. Yikes. Was that you, Pinky? Yes, Pinky's down here. Being quiet right now. She's not yelling at the water like usual. Keeping an eye on her. Gesundheit. Thank you, Kabuki Kid. Much appreciated. But I do have to point out that me personally, I don't know if I'd get a kick out of it. There we go. Kabuki Kid is pointing out, I was going to say the same thing. I would probably be way, way more into Corsair Leader. I was a big fan of Baba Black Sheep back in the day. Oh, I'm sorry, Black Sheep Squadron back in the day, which starred a kid I went to, a friend of mine from high school, or not high school, grammar school. Robert Conrad was actually his godfather, amazingly enough. So anyway, but this looks really good. This does look very, very cool. It's got some new wrinkles to it as well. And I guarantee that this is well worth checking out and supporting on Kickstarter. It's almost funded already. I think it's around 25,000 is the funding goal. And when I looked about an hour ago, it was around 23,000, somewhere around that. It's either 23 or it's 32. Regardless, it's within like a couple of thousand when I looked of being funded. So pretty cool. I got to reach out to Dan Verssen Games because originally when the Gaming Gang first started out, did some reviews and those went over pretty well. And then I moved and I didn't do anything. And then I just had recently reviewed Warfighter Modern as well as the War of the Worlds USA, liked both of them, and never heard anything from Dan Verssen Games. I sent him an email saying, "Hey, here's the link for this review. Here's the link for this review." Nothing. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that flew under their radar, and they're thinking I didn't do reviews or something. So Kabuki Kid is saying that they watched Black Sheep Squadron 2. Yes, that was the title when it went to reruns. And yes, John Laudercat was in that. So a great ace says it used to be on TV right after or before McHale's Navy. Wow, that's pretty wild. That's kind of interesting. And who a great A's reruns from their local television station. We never. I got to be honest. I remember as a kid McHale's Navy being in reruns, but after that, nothing. Nothing. Of course, nowadays everybody's got all these, at least in the U.S., got all these free stations that have all these reruns of crazy 70s shows that you would have never thought anybody would watch ever again, like Mannix. It's like, okay. All right, moving right along. Oh, well, actually, I should say the Madman was talking about that they have been picking up some wargaming titles, and the wallet is not happy. Yes, but the Madman is happy, enjoying the various different war games that he is experimenting with. So a Great Ace says How the West Was Won, the series is on TV, and those are like 90-minute episodes. How the West Was Won. I'm not familiar with that. Are we talking about the West documentary that Ken Burns did, which I actually think is really excellent. I love Ken Burns stuff. In fact, funny enough, I have been watching a bunch of American Experience on my PBS app because just big history nut. What can I tell you? All right, let's move on to another news piece because there is a big news piece. I would think, funny enough, this news announcement is a couple of days old, and I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it because there is a new role-playing game that's been announced by Fandom Tabletop and Mattel. It's going to be based on the Masters of the Universe, and I've got a little bit of dope on Legends of Greyskull. In the Legends of Greyskull tabletop role-playing game, players can customize or create characters to overcome high-stakes challenges and find epic fun in Eteria. I think that's what it says. For some strange reason, Eternia, there we go. Some strange reason, my teleprompter's being blocked off by part of the camera tonight. And it's like, why? What is different tonight? I don't get this. In Eternia, a world where magic meets technology, the experience brings together the core role-playing game, a digital companion and tool set, and community content creation and sharing platform, as well as an organized play program that gives fans the opportunity to participate in a connected living story with other players around the world. My first action figures as a kid were He-Man and Skeletor, said Adam Bradford, executive producer and vice president of Tabletop at Fandom, otherwise known as Fandom Tabletop. Masters of the Universe was my first fandom. I learned to read from the mini-comics, watched the show, and acted out scenes on our sofa and made up the most elaborate stories of my own with those characters. I'm thrilled for Fandom to partner with Mattel to make Legends of Greyskull and give fans a new way to tell exciting stories with family and friends. There is no release date that's been revealed other than we know it's next year. And there was a video that I would have shared. It's about a minute long. Really didn't share anything because all it basically was doing was had a little bit of voiceover. And it's like, I have the power. But still, I was going to share it. And then I got got a flag for copyright violation because I tested it before. Anyway, so as Grade A is already pointing out, this is going to be based on the Cortex system, which was originally from Margaret Weiss Productions. It was purchased by Fandom Tabletop last year. I believe there's also going to be a public play test. You can sign up to be notified at the web address I'm sharing right here, legendsofgrayskull.com. So let's see what we got here. Oh, my gosh, there's talk about Rat Patrol, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Combat. How the West Was Won was an American Western series that had James Arness in it. Wow. I'm not familiar with that. Of course, I'm familiar with James Arness and Gunsmoke forever. So, I see a Great A's like, Greyskull. So it's going to be the Cortex Plus? I don't know. So there's a Netflix Dragon show announced that's going to use Cortex as well. All right. Don't know. Yes. A little discussion about Margaret Weiss. Yes. Dragonlance. Of course. So this could be interesting. Could be complete crap too. You don't know. It's I got to be honest. I have never heard anybody really talk up the Cortex system. So I don't know. I have no clue. So Kabuki Kid says, Greyskull. I want Greyhawk back. There you go. And there's the new Western Legends Kickstarter. Yes, supposedly that is going to be the final release in the series. I think. I'm not positive. I don't know. I've not played the game. I do not know. But anyway, keep your eyes peeled for Legends of Greyskull. If you are interested in the public playtest, just like they did with 2nd edition Pathfinder, 5th edition D&D, jump on board. You'll effectively get the game free. I mean, it won't be the finished product with artwork and everything else, but you'll get the skeleton of Legends of Greyskull to be able to play with. So I've got my final news piece because there is a new campaign being published by my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. It is for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Here's the dope on Shadows in the Mist. There is the rot in the heart of Anvilgard. While the anvils of the Heldenhammer looked outward, a cabal of elven outcasts have taken root within the city. Known as the Black Scale Coil, this mysterious group has infiltrated every facet of Anvilgard society and seeks to make the city their own. But the Coil is not all there is to worry about. An even greater threat lurks in the mist. Venture into the deadly mist shrouded. Damn it, I swear. This is really driving me nuts. The way this, let me see if I can move this around a little bit. All right, hold on. There we go. That's better. I'm like, geez. It's like I can barely read what's on the screen. I mean, it's like everything looks fine. It's just as the teleprompter's going, it's like, it just goes kind of slowly and it's like catching on. It's like, wait a second, I'm trying to read. Alrighty. So where did I leave off? Okay. Venture into the deadly mist-shrouded streets of Anvilgard, I should say, in the first ever campaign for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Shadows in the Mist contains 6 exciting ready-to-play adventures set in the city of Anvilgard. These adventures can be played as a complete campaign that sees the Soulbound uncover the truth of who or what is threatening Anvilgard, or it can be used as individual standalone adventures. Shadows in the Mist also contains a comprehensive guide to the city of Anvilgard, including places of interest, major factions and people, and other threats that lurk in the midst. When you pre-order the Shadows in the Mist, you'll receive the first thrilling adventure, Blood Tide, immediately. That is what you are seeing some images from right now. The following content will be released regularly, and you'll receive the PDF as soon as it's available. Adventures will be made available as individual digital publications via Drive-Thru RPG and the Cubicle 7 web store. When you pre-order the full PDF of Shadows in the Mist, you'll immediately receive a PDF of Blood Tides, the first adventure in the campaign, which sees the party sailing the deadly seas surrounding the Anvilgard. Over the coming months, you'll receive PDF copies of the following sections of the book as they're completed. There is the Anvilgard City Guide, a complete guide to the city of, you guessed it, Anvilgard. Rotten to the Core, the second adventure in the campaign, sees the party investigate the sabotage of the defoliant cannons that protect Anvilgard and uncover a traitor in the city's upper echelons. There's Crucible of Life. The third adventure is a race against time. The party must fight their way through the deadly jungles that surround Anvilgard as they desperately race to find a lost storm vault before the agents of the Black Scale Coil. Petrified Wood. In the fourth adventure, the party investigates the death of a Karnoth hunter who has seemingly been killed by the gas from the defoliant cannons that protect Anvilgard. They must discover the truth before the Sylvaneth Glade that lives in the city retaliates and war erupts in the streets. There's also Aqua Nurglis. A strange sickness is spreading through Anvilgard, and it seems to be coming from the gambling dens run by the Black Scale Coil. However, all is not as it seems in this penultimate adventure as a player party uncovers the true rot at the heart of the City of Scales. And then finally, there is Balancing the Scales. The final adventure in the dramatic campaign sees chaos erupt in Anvilgard as the truth is finally revealed. Along with some unexpected allies, well, how much you want to bet it's that Black Scale Coil? The party must scramble to protect the city before it's consumed from within. All told, the PDFs should end up coming out to be 256 pages in total. Can be pre-ordered right now at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. Gotta say, personally, I think that's a little pricey. I think that is a little bit pricey. $24.99, I think, would be more along the lines for it. But I see that Cubicle 7 is kind of going in the direction of Modiphius Entertainment, because Modiphius Entertainment likes to do these like pre-orders for PDFs. They've done it with Star Trek Adventures, which, don't forget, still got time to jump on that really cool Humble Bundle where you can get almost everything from Star Trek Adventures in PDF for $15. But they did that with Conan. They've done it with, I think they did it with John Carter, although they have not released a lot of stuff for John Carter. So very cool. Sammy did a review for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound and really, really liked it. So, and of course, I have no idea if Sammy's still doing reviews or not. I have not heard from her in about a month. So I don't know. Speaking of reviews, PDF reviews, I know I got a lot of fans of role-playing games out there who watch the show. I am always on the hunt for people to review PDFs of role-playing games. Granted, I do the reviews for the physical products, but a lot of times I actually get the PDF and the physical book. So as an example, my friends over at Arc Dream Publishing, the makers of Delta Green, who I will have the review of The Labyrinth up probably it'll be up this weekend. It will be done this weekend. They're sending me the new adventure. I'm not sure if it's a new adventure or if it's just back in print. Maybe they've done a revision of it. PX Poker Night. So they're actually sending me the physical book, but they've also got the PDF as well. So I am definitely looking for a Pathfinder and Starfinder reviewer because I have access to loads of PDFs from that. And, people out there like Lovecraftian stuff or Savage Worlds, for example, as long as you can string together a few coherent paragraphs, it's all good. It's all good. All right, so real quick, let's look at chat here, and then I got a couple of things that I want to just point out. So the Madman says that they backed the Western Legends final expansion today. Expansions for games are like his kryptonite. And strangely enough, I probably get fewer expansions to stuff than most people. Kind of weird. Wondrous Expeditions Forests. Is that the terrain Kickstarter? There's so many Kickstarters out there. In fact, tomorrow's news, which I've been trying to like put together the news a day in advance just in case something happens. Because I have to go see the cardiologist on Monday, and God knows what that's going to be. But because I got my test results from the nuclear stress test, I don't know what any of it means. Because, of course, they don't say, oh, well, this means this. Then you go online to take a look at something, and it's just like par for the course kind of thing. I don't know. We're going to find out. So, let's see. A Grade A is asking if anybody's watching a Lovecraft Country on HBO. I thought that didn't premiere until the 16th. Maybe I'm wrong. A Kabuki Kid says they were just about to dip into Perry Mason. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting too. It's kind of funny. Usually stuff like on HBO, these shows that tend to be like 10 episodes in length per season, I tend to like to binge watch. When the season's over, then I watch it. Unless, of course, it was, Game of Thrones. So Flaming Heron mentions that they're lucky if they can string together a coherent sentence. So Grade A says, no, that's not the Dwarven Forge thing. There you go. So Kabuki Kid mentions that her boyfriend just had one of those nuclear stress tests. Yeah, and it was great because I talked about it a little bit yesterday. And I went in thinking it was just John Bogle, quit giving me the Cubs game updates. I'm going to watch it from the start, man. Yeah, so I thought it was just going to be a regular stress test. And I went in and it was like 5 hours later. It's like, geez. It was all right. Yeah, it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. All right, anyway. So I was talking about the Labyrinth review. I will have Forbidden Lands, the Bitter Reach review as well. We've got Dungeon Drop coming soon as a review, as well as Tiny Epic Mechs. This will probably be the next review that you'll see. I've just got a couple of things to take care of with it, as well as Tiny Epic Tactics. So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, they went with him for the nuclear stress test, and it took far longer than you'd have thought. Yes, I know. It was a lot of hurry up and wait stuff. Last thing I want to point out is Iello Games sent me a cool package today. So it includes Saboteur, which has been out for a while. So this is one of their card games. As a Grade A says, Jeff went nuclear and survived. Yeah, I know. They sent me Portal Heroes, which, you can maybe see there's a little Mayfair. Let's try to get rid of some of the glare. There's a little Mayfair Games logo on it. So I was told that they're not reprinting this. This is kind of out of stock. They still sent along a copy of it. I thought that was very nice. And they also sent me Carnival of Monsters, designed by Richard Garfield, and I have heard good things about this. So stay tuned. We'll have some coverage of that. I talked to someone from Plaid Hat Games, and they're adding me to the reviewers list. I guess now that they're not part of Asmodee, they're probably looking to, because the funny thing is, these companies that are part of Asmodee does not want them to actually handle like review copies and stuff like that. They want it to all go through Asmodee. So that's why Fantasy Flight Games was tough for us to get review copies back in the day. I think we could count on one hand between Elliot and I how many FFG games that we received as review copies. But then once Asmodee bought them, that was it. That was the end. So a Great A says, woohoo, Plaid Hat. Colby is great. So, way back in the day, Elliot interviewed, I don't think it was Colby. I think it was somebody else. He interviewed somebody from Plaid Hat. And then, like I said, we were trying to work things out, get on board with them. And then Asmodee came along and that was it. And you may notice this. I don't share a lot of news from companies that are owned by Asmodee. And it's not necessarily that I have anything against the companies or Asmodee, really. It's just they don't need my help in promoting stuff as I bump the mic. They really don't. They don't need my assistance to help get the word out. Companies like Weird Giraffe Games or Witch in Craft Games that we talked about that Kickstarter last night for that role-playing game, 12 Inner Demons. Those are the companies that, they could use a little boost, a little signal boost out there. So Asmodee, Fantasy Flight Games, they don't need me sitting there going, hey, coming from these guys. Every once in a while, I will share something that looks pretty interesting, though. It's just, like I said, they don't need my help. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. About 45 minutes tonight. That's cool. Sorry about the weird thing with the, now all of a sudden my nose is running after I sneezed. It's pretty weird. Oh my God, it's COVID-19. No, that's not something to joke about either. Although I have been told that my cardiologist is super paranoid about COVID-19. So one of the nurses, because my cardiologist has zero sense of humor. And of course, I tend to kind of crack jokes, right? I mean, what are you supposed to do? I remember when I had the heart attack, my dad was pissed at me because he thought I wasn't taking it serious when I was in the hospital. And I was like, because I was, kidding around with the nurses and stuff like that. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, yeah, I get it. I almost died. What do you want me to do? Right? It's like, come on. I'm not going to change my personality. Be like, yes, okay. Ain't going to happen. But she has zero sense of humor. And I was told, don't be surprised if she comes in a, almost like a vac suit, right? Come in to meet with me in one of those the emergency agency suits. I'm trying to think of what the hell it's called off the top of my head. I forget it now. So I joked with my brother. I said, so I'm going to sit there and I'll be like, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Hazmat. Yeah, hazmat suits. Thanks. Yep. So I'll be like, yeah. I've been feeling okay. I got this cough, and for some reason, I just I couldn't taste my coffee this morning. I mean, it had absolutely no taste to it. And watch her eyes like bug out. I won't do it because she'll be pissed. Like I said, she has zero sense of humor. Anyway, all right. So that is it for tonight's show. As I always like to mention, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, if you do subscribe, ring that bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live here on YouTube Monday through Thursday nights. And why is my collar keep getting messed up? It's like, what the heck? I was sitting here fine. And all of a sudden, it's like, what is this, like a 70s kind of thing? It's like all wide open. Jeez. Anyway, so don't forget, ring that little notification bell because if you do, it'll not only let you know when I stream the Daily Dope on Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload my videos of my reviews and unboxings and first looks and interviews and so on and so forth. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live and hung out in chat, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. Have people keeping me company so I'm not just babbling out into the ether. But then again, if you're unable to watch live, maybe you're even watching on Memorex, I certainly appreciate that as well. So anybody who takes some time out to watch this goofball has a spot in my heart, that is for sure. So I will be back tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. And of course, as I've been signing off during this pandemic, till I see you next, do your best to be smart, stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.